So what did you think of my first sequel?
My thoughts on the film is this. They recycled the exact same storyline from the first film, but tweaked it a little bit so it's curing some sort of vampirism infestation virus instead of allowing the main villain to become immortal. But in the same way, it's still using Blade's blood to make more powerful vampires. Same exact storyline. The only other thing I have to say about is the horrible rubber graphics during fight sequences. It looks shoddy, and they look like they did not care at all.
Trust me, it's only going to get worse from here. The next sequel I have for you is a little movie by the title of Red 2.
Red 2? I haven't even done the first one. Why are you gonna make me do that review?
Because I can. See you next time, hero.
Okay, since I'm being forced to do this is Red 2. The film starts 3 years after the first Red film with our characters shopping. Marvin tries to convince Frank that people are still after them and our hero ignores him, just wanting a normal life.
Last chance, Frank.
Taking Sarah home.
Stay safe.
Sure, I really want it to be.
Of course it is, honey. You are never going to be in danger ever again.
Well, there went your so-called normal life. Frank and Sarah head to Marvin's funeral, Frank doing everything he can to prove Marvin is not dead, and even delivers a teary-eyed eulogy. After the funeral, agents bring him in to interrogate him on something he actually knows nothing about. Jack Horton, a head agent, comes in and demands to know what Frank does not know, or he'll continue to torture Sarah. Frank does what he does best and slowly takes down all of Jack's men in order to save himself. He is eventually saved by a not-so-dead Marvin.
Marvin! You're driving me crazy! Fuck the key.
Frank is, of course, pissed off that Marvin brought Sarah along. Marvin tells Frank that the two of them had been put on a list of people that participated in a Cold War operation to smuggle weapons into Russia. Horton has issued a detainment for them. Due to his failure, Horton enlists a contract for Han Chabai to kill Frank. Marvin then stupidly gives Sarah a gun.
She has no idea what to do with this.
I know exactly what to do with it.
Did she just shoot him in the foot?
That she did!
And that is why you never give a gun to an idiot.
While our trio tries to figure things out on the computer, they learn that they need to get to Paris for a guy named the Frog. Victoria calls them, warning them about Han as well as the fact that she was also contracted to kill them. While Han is setting up a trap for Frank, Frank hijacks Han's plane and they arrive in Paris, where we meet a part of Frank's past.
Could that kiss have been any sloppier?
Oh, wee wee. The girl is Kataya, Frank's old girlfriend, who is also searching for information on Nightshade, and demands everything for Russia or she'll turn Frank into the U.S. She agrees to help clear Frank's name as that they head to where the Frog usually hangs out. Of course, Sarah does what she was told not to do, and by staring at the frog, she starts a gun war that eventually turns into a car chase around Paris. Sarah's determined to show Frank that she can handle the situation as she tries to take the frog down herself. She almost succeeds but comes up short. Thankfully, Frank is there to save the day. Our group goes to interrogate the frog, but they have no luck until Sarah steps up and stops them from killing him by creepily seducing him. Frank leaves Martin and Sarah at the hotel and goes out for a dinner date with Kataya, and the two discuss their relationship as well as Frank getting drugged. Marvin knew what was going on, so the key that she has is actually a fake. As Marvin and Frank talk about his fuck up, Han makes his move. After the two safely get away from Han, Marvin reveals that the key he gave her is connected to a terrorist group, and she quickly gets arrested. Our trio go through the evidence within their box and head to England, where they run into Victoria, who helps with a plan of blowing up a car with fake bodies in it.
Where'd you get the bodies?
My freezer.
She's not the only ones with bodies in the fridge.
What the fuck? Does Ben & Jerry's have an ice cream flavor with body parts in it?
Of course they do. It's called chunk of flesh.
Excuse me while I go throw up. Our group gets into the sanitarium that they needed to get into, and through Victoria's crazy acting, they get in pretty easily. Frank finds out that Edward Bailey is still alive, but sees how batshit crazy he's become. The two of them do everything they can to get information from Bailey, but only find out the bomb could still be active. They get to Russia, and of course, Han is waiting.
Where's my plane?
They paid me to kill you.
Frank quickly handcuffs Han to a fridge and gets away. Our group heads to Frank's very first safe house, and after a short talk, Bailey remembers where he hid the nightshade, which happens to be inside the Kremlin building. While the rest head into the building, Victoria is being interrogated on their whereabouts. Once inside, the group go undercover and choose to leave Sarah, of all people, to guard the exit for their escape. Why would they leave someone so incompetent not only to guard said entrance, but give her a gun as well?
It looks like this group wants to be caught.
Bailey shows the group that Nightshade is actually red mercury, an untraceable, ignitable explosive. Kataya shows up, and Frank does everything he can to convince her to join their side. Sarah is caught in a sticky situation when she can't communicate with another Russian, so she kisses the guy instead of killing him. While celebrating their success, Victoria calls Frank and warns him that Bailey is not what he says he is. Victoria, of course, is correct, as Bailey reveals that he has made a deal with Horton and then decides to kill her.
It's time, Bailey.
Yes, it is time. Very interesting. Rogue American.
While our main characters are in line to be shot, Victoria begins taking out all of the men and helps Frank escape. On the plane, Bailey releases an air toxin that knocks out the entire plane. The group is warned about the plane's deaths, but as Frank goes to board the plane, he's once again attacked by Han. The fight goes back and forth, with Frank giving you quip after quip. Eventually, Frank tells Han what's going on, and Han finally chooses to do the right thing instead of killing Frank. The group goes back to London, and after Frank gives Sarah her own gun, they stage an abduction where Sarah actually does something in the movie other than be in the way. In order to get an Iranian leader to listen to their demands, Marvin literally makes the shit hit the fan.
Got me.
Did you just make a poop joke?
As immature as it is? Yes. Yes, I did. Now, are you going to let me finish this damn review, or are you going to continue questioning my joke selection?
As horrible as your joke selection is, by all means, go on right ahead.
Bailey, of course, betrays the men he's working with once he gets his money, and poor Jack is tied to a chair with a running bomb timer. The group gets to the bomb and realizes it's counting down. During a gun shootout, Sarah is captured by Bailey, and Han heads after him. Frank hijacks a helicopter to follow chase as well, and we see how awesome Victoria is. Marvin learns that the bomb has no way of being shut off after he snips every wire. The chase continues as the copper driver is shot, forcing Frank to take the controls, which just leads into the copter crashing. Frank goes into the plane that Bailey has Sarah captive on and compromises Sarah for Bailey's escape. As the group awaits the explosion, we get a swerve as we see the helicopter explode instead. The film ends with our group celebrating their victory and Frank and Sarah on a new mission.
That's 2 down, 6 more to go.
Good, so what's the next sequel you're going to torture me with? Because so far, I haven't had any real problems with any of these films.
A graphically enhanced film by the name of Sin City, A Dame to Kill.
I haven't done the first one of that either. Are you just running out of selections for me to do? And by the way, what's with 2 Bruce Willis films in a row?
No particular reason. Now, are you going to review it or not?
Fine, let's get this done.